Hello and welcome to a conversation on the Daily Burn. I'm your host, Eric Miller, joined by an awesome progressive from the great state of Texas, Adrienne Bell. How you doing, Adrienne?
I am doing great, Erica. So glad to be a part and just to be able to sit and speak with you, coming from the great state of Texas. So it's good seeing you and good being a part of your show.
Right on. Thanks for coming on. I followed your race in 2018, and obviously you're running again. You overperformed. You did really well last time around. I think got like 40%, closed quite a gap. You know what what inspired you to keep running, to run again? A lot of people will get discouraged and drop out or whatever, but you got right back into the fight. Can you talk about what motivated you to do so?
Exactly. Well, I don't believe in giving up. And I had a lot of people that encouraged me to run and told me that I had given them hope. We got about 92,000 votes, which were the most votes any Democrat had gotten in this district since it had been formed. And so with people telling me that I had given them hope and, they wanted me to run again, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So we're back out here running against Strong. And so we are going to continue on. I think one of the worst things is for a person to run for office and then they just disappear. You don't see them again. You don't hear from them again. And we should not do that. So I also think that we should run in every race. We should be competitive. We should get out there and we should make incumbents work for their office and to work to continue representing us.
Right on. And that's the difference between someone that's doing it for sort of careeristic purposes, running for office, and someone that's running because they're an advocate for justice or the policy, which you are, right? So it comes from a place of, sincere motivation versus, career advancement. So it's a huge difference.
Right. I am not running for position or power or party. I am running for the people. So that does make a huge difference. I am here because I want the voices of the people to go to Washington, D.C., to represent them so that we can get needs met. We've got so many people in this district that are hurting, so many that are suffering, and they need an advocate. They need a fight for them and against all these injustices that we see going on. So that's why I'm in the race. That's why I am going to continue until we win.
Right on. One of the races that wasn't dissimilar was, you were endorsed by Justice Democrats last time, as was Cori Bush, and she ran a second time and had success the second time around. It is a change year. It's an anti-Trump year. So I think the wind is at your back, and you have name recognition that you didn't have last time around.
Right.
Right.
I tell you, I've just been smiling. Yesterday, I found myself just smiling because I'm like, Cori won. Cori won. And it's not that I was just shocked that she won, but I am so glad that she won because she fought for that office and she won. The people really saw her heart for justice and they elected her. So her victory is a rallying call for single women who have been homeless, who are, now she's going into the halls of Congress. What better story can you come up? You can't even invent a story that good. And she won, and I'm still excited about her winning and what we will see in the upcoming representatives because there is a change and it's a necessary change. And so we've got a lot of different things going for us right now that we did not have in 2018. For one thing, it is a presidential election year. We do have COVID. We do have the hate against what is not happening with leadership. And
Right.
we have people that are just tired and just need a fighter and not folks that are just going to be rolled, sit back and allow special interests to rule. So we're
Right.
ready.
Right on. Yeah, the incumbent is Randy Weber, and he votes with Trump like 95% of the time. And I'm assuming that has hit your constituency hard. With the trade bills, with the poor coronavirus response. Can you talk about sort of some of his failures in being so aligned with Trump?
Well, one of the things as well is the Violence Against Women Act. He voted
Right.
against that. This district is heavily populated with women. And when you vote against women, you're voting against half of your constituency base when we know that violence against women is real. And we need someone that's going to stand up for women. He does not do that. He voted against the Families First coronavirus bill. So he did not stand up for families that were being affected by COVID. He has not pushed for federal testing, tracing testing. He voted against the HEROES Act. If it's a act that is for working people, that's for women, he has voted against it. And he has voted very little. Well, I wanted since 2018, he has pretty much voted no against every bill that he's been presented with. He even voted against the Great Outdoors bill that a lot of conservationists really wanted, and he voted no against that one. So he just votes no, and if Trump wants it, then he'll vote for it.
Right, and he voted against Hurricane Sandy relief back in the day as well. I mean, that's inexplicable.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to look at your district. So it's Texas 14. You're in the general, so election day will be November 3rd. And your website is Vote for Bell, which we'll mention a couple more times. So go donate and support. But let's look at the district, right? So it's one of those districts that's got like that fun, weird kind of gerrymandering stuff going on, right?
Right.
It is kind of considered a solidly Republican district, but like I said last time, and you said you won more votes than a Democrat, in 2018. So there is momentum. I like to give people a chance, to brag on your district a little bit. Tell us about Texas 14. Why is it awesome?
One of the great things about this district, it has a lot of cities that you've got listed. I think the largest city is not listed, which is League City. But there's so many different personalities. There are 5 ports within this district, and that's the most ports of any district in the country. And so Freeport at the very bottom of the screen looks like Port Arthur, which is at the very top of the screen. But the bases are different. Freeport is majority Hispanic. Port Arthur is majority Black. And so we've got so many different uniqueness about them. You've got what I like the old buildings or the old downtown areas that could really be revitalized. We've got Galveston Island, and so we have a huge tourist base, and we've got a lot of water in this district, which is really enjoyable. We have a lot of people in these areas that can really cook well. And we have that Southern hospitality. So before COVID, oh my goodness, I was enjoying it because they always want to feed you. They had different kind of festivals and food and want to feed you. And we love barbecue and boudin. We've got the Cajun influence up in the Beaumont, Port Arthur area. And so, yeah, it's just, and Texas City area, the Galveston County area, it's just really diverse. It's a very diverse district. And what you do not see is the power of the people in the numbers. Texas has traditionally been a lower voter turnout state, and it has hurt us with our leadership because gerrymandered districts produce mediocre leadership because it's drawn for the politician and not drawn for the people. Right. And so Texas is one of the 7th most gerrymandered states. And one of the reasons, the big push to flip the House districts in Texas, because the maps will be redrawn, and so we need people that are going to be in there and drawing a more fairer map than even the map you just saw with 14 that expands, and the people are not connected in a district. So what connects them? We have ports, but it's a really challenge to make sure that you can connect the people as a district. And so you skip counties, and we've got one county like Missouri that's split between 2 congressional districts, and you have people, they'll be confused because they really don't know what district they can vote in. And so it's a lot of voter education because of the way that they've drawn these districts.
Right. Yeah, it's deliberately. It's a method of voter suppression, right? Obfuscation, right? Is it drawn? Is it drawn around racial lines as they tend to be?
I wouldn't necessarily say racial lines, but the Jefferson County area that you saw with the Beaumont, Port Arthur, Nederland, that county Trump won that county about 450 votes in 2016. And it's the only pivot county in Texas because it went blue for Obama in 2008, blue for Obama in 2012. And then in 2016, we had Hurricane Harvey, and we had a lot of displaced people in those areas. And so it was red, by 400, 450 some odd votes. And so, but it's we have a huge majority, huge minority population of Blacks and Hispanics that, come out and turn out the vote. It's flipping. It's just going to change.
Yeah. Speaking of Obama, you got a pretty big endorsement this week. How's that feel?
That really feels good. To know that the president himself signed off on your campaign. And,
Wow.
There's always going to be the question, where did Texas 14 come from? It's a R12. Well, there are some other districts that were R something else positive, and they flipped. So they're not impossible districts to win. You've just got to have the right timing, the right persons running, the grassroots power behind it to push and turn out the people to vote. So we're very excited about President Obama's recognition. I would love to have Michelle's endorsement as well, because I love Michelle Obama. But I don't think Michelle's doing any endorsements, but I would definitely love hers.
That'd be cool. Maybe it's forthcoming. So let's talk a little bit about policy, right? So you do not take any corporate PAC money. Like I said, last time you were endorsed by Justice Democrats and other progressive groups as well. That's true, right? No corporate PAC money?
That's true. And we are endorsed by other progressive organizations such as Brand New Congress, Democracy for America. We have Higher Heights that's endorsing us as well. The union, the AFL-CIO. I'm a member of the Houston Federation of Teachers Union. And so we've been, endorsed by the union unions as well. Awesome. And so, no, we do not take corporate money because I'm going to go to Congress unbought and unbossed.
Yes, I love that clip from the TYT commercials. I hear it all the time. Little soundbite of you in their commercial. They use it. So if you want to donate, it's votefourbell.com. And again, the election is November 3rd. Let's talk a little bit about policy. So, I would imagine that as much coastline as you have in your district and the ports that you mentioned, I would think that climate change would be a hot issue. I would think they would be feeling that, more than others. So can you talk about, where you stand on climate change policy within your district?
Yes. With the environmental justice, we have an area, our coast, and I'm going to talk about the Galveston coastline, that we need protection. And so when Hurricane Ike hit over 10 years ago, then there was talk about building an Ike dike. Nothing has happened. There's no protection up yet to protect the coast and the residents from attack of a hurricane. And we do know that our hurricanes are become more ferocious, and which we saw with Hurricane Harvey. Hurricane Harvey was devastating to this area. And you can still see the effects of Hurricane Harvey because everyone is not recovered from it. And we're back into a hurricane season. And so I believe that climate change is real. My opponent does not stand and is not pushing for, the climate change changes that we need, and we need them now. We don't need to continue talking about it because right now in Texas, well, I'm gonna say yesterday, no, I'll say 2 days ago, we were out doing canvas lit drops. It was 7 o'clock at night, and it had that real field temperature of 100 degrees. It is just blazing out here, and I grew up in Texas, and it was not this hot. It is so hot. It is, August is nearly unbearable. You pretty much stay in your house and just pay that higher electricity bill and let that air conditioner run because it's too hot for humans to be out there. Yeah,
and only getting worse, right? If you feel it now, wait for another 20 years, your kids, your grandkids, like Bernie always said, right? We have a moral responsibility to leave a healthy and habitable planet to our children and grandchildren, right? And just what you're saying, like there's no difference, if Randy Weber is a climate change denier, that's horrible, but there's no difference than denying and delaying at this point. Even if he acknowledged it, if he's still obstructing progress or taking fossil fuel money, it's not helping. It's just, prolonging the issue, right? So, um,
Right.
yeah,
We need some immediate action. We need some immediate concern about climate change. We know that hurricanes are going to be stronger. They're going to be more frequent. This is supposed to be an active season. And we are already in the midst of COVID. Texas is a hotbed right now. One
yeah,
cannot imagine our being hit by a hurricane.
yeah,
And the hurricane that was last weekend that came through didn't hit us, it moved, but hitting this area with another hurricane and during COVID, it's brutal, and it's
yeah,
too much to be putting on responsibilities of people who don't have the money right now to make it through COVID. And then it takes money to survive a hurricane. You got to have a spending cash. You got to have some cash money because we've experienced where the electricity stops working, you can't get gas, you cannot withdraw money out of the bank. So, but how many people have $500 or $400 that they can just withdraw and just have, just in case you need to purchase items? And we have to stock up on hurricane supplies, and it costs us money. And
yeah.
so I think all of that needs to be taken in consideration. The cost of even preparing for a hurricane when you're already suffering through COVID.
Yeah, and wages haven't kept up, right? So I'm
Right.
assuming that's another plank in your policy platform is living wage, right? Increasing the
Absolutely.
minimum wage, right? Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, let's talk about healthcare a little bit because nothing has endorsed Medicare for all more than reality,
Mhm.
right? And more than the
True.
pandemic. So can you talk about your position on Medicare for all and what that means maybe for older voters specifically, if you have older voters in your district about long-term care, that type of thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Well, I believe that everyone has the right to health care, that it should be treated as so. One thing COVID showed us, and as you say, reality, healthcare should not be tied to employment.
Yeah.
Losing a job, having to come off a job should not take away healthcare. And when this pandemic closed down businesses, people lost their healthcare. So now Texas, which was already number one as the most uninsured state in the nation, now you've got even more people that are uninsured because of COVID. One of the
Right.
things of Medicare for all that I like is long-term care. We're going to get older, and a lot of people do end up needing a long-term health care, whether it's in your home or whether it's in a facility. And one also fallacy, everyone in a nursing facility are not older people. You have different ages that are in nursing facilities that need long-term care. And the cost of prescription drugs, that has gone up. We have got to be able to monitor that and curtail it to where someone who is diabetic and needs insulin, they're not trying to figure out, should I pay for insulin, should I pay for my blood pressure medicine just to
Yeah.
make it, or should I go buy some food? And so when we start treating medical cost and health care as a right, to where I can make sure that my children are taken care of, that when they need medical attention, you can take your children to the doctor, not have to wait until it's emergency and you're just going to an emergency room. And a
Right.
healthy nation, a healthy state, that helps our economy. It helps us not to be missing days from work because we're being proactive about our health care and not waiting until after something has happened. So
Yeah.
I am
And it
definitely for everyone having health care.
right on. So when you get elected into the House, you would support Pramila Jayapal's Medicare for All bill in the House, right? I assume.
Yes, yes, I
Right
will.
on.
Yes, I will.
Awesome.
And I know a lot of people say, well, you can't do that in a conservative area because people don't like that. Well, people get sick and people need help and they need someone that's going to fight for them. I am the one that's going to fight for the people no one's been fighting for, who really feel as though their voices have been silenced, who really don't engage in politics because they don't see any change in their life. And I want to be one of those representatives that will bring change, where people will see that when my term ended, because I will not be a career politician, they will see progress that has occurred in their life. They have seen something good that has happened in their lifetime. Healthcare
That's
can be
amazing.
one of those.
Yeah, and they got to be feeling it. Like I said, they're especially during a pandemic. Anyone that lost employment, right? That's struggling with, that plus 600 getting cut off, and
Yeah.
they have to be feeling it, whether it's a D plus whatever or an R plus whatever district. We're all
Right.
feeling that, right? So
Exactly.
yeah. So how do you what's the I'm sure a lot of consultants get in your ear, and like you said about the Obama endorsement in R plus 12 district, how do you surmount that?
I don't look at it just as a our district. I look at it as a district where the people who really need the help have not been voting because they haven't had someone to vote for. They
Yeah.
haven't they haven't been hurting. We haven't not. I mean, they have been hurting, but they haven't been. We are collectively being traumatized by COVID.
Yeah.
All of us. And COVID does not have a limit if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or a liberal. It doesn't have that. If you believe it attacks everyone. And
Yeah.
so with this collective trauma, there's going to be a need for mental health services. And so we got to be able to have people in office who are going to push for those things that people need. If we have representatives, and since we have representatives who are not even pushing for COVID testing, free COVID testing, do you think they're going to push for us to get mental health services after all this we've gone through? Are they going to push for social justice that the people need? I don't think so. So unless we change, the only way we're going to change the direction of the districts, we got to change the representatives who are leading the district so that we have some meaningful change and things that benefit the people and not just special interest and a big corporation's pocket, but people.
Yeah. Can you I guess two final things. But before that, voteforbell.com, November 3rd, go donate, go volunteer, whatever. Can you point to, so Randy Weber takes tons of corporate bribes, other people might call them donations, I'll straight up call them bribes, right? Can you point to maybe one of the more egregious examples of donor directly influencing a vote that negatively impacted your district?
Well, when you look at the way that he votes, it overall negatively impacts the district. You don't even need to just pick one. You can just go through the entire list. He voted against the HEROES Act. The HEROES Act would have put money directly into your pocket because of COVID. Where that influence came from, God only knows, but I know that the people need it. I would have voted for that emergency money because I know you need it.
Yeah.
He voted against the Violence Against Women Act and would not tie up those loopholes of being a boyfriend, being able to have a gun. And
right.
so, and you being able to be protected against that. And so when you've got over, half of your constituents are women, you're saying that it's okay. It's okay. I'm not going to give you any protections to help you win. And if this happens. And so you can just look at his entire record of everything he votes no against. And it's all influenced by different values that are not values of the people that I've met and I've talked to in this district. I had a lady reach out just a few days ago regarding that $600 because I think that is immoral of what they have not done. They are not working and they're not taking care of the people. And that right now includes the Senate. She, with the $600 ran out last weekend, she said that she is now down to $80 a week. That's all she gets in unemployment. There is no way you're going to function on $320 a month. But they have allowed this to happen, and it's just wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any other policy that we didn't touch on that you have a personal motivation, once you get to the House to work on that you want to promote or plank in your platform that you want to highlight?
Two things: affordable housing. I want to see a shift and a downward trend in homelessness, homeless populations. And then also where you can afford a house. Well, that comes with having livable wages, but also people need food, shelter, and clothing. And we're not providing the basic needs, then people are suffering. And so I want to work on those. When I leave office, I want that to be one of my hallmarks, is that I helped eradicate homelessness and provided affordable housing for our areas. There has not been a huge increase in federal housing projects or federal housing funding in decades. We have not taken care of that, and that's something that I'm going to address in 14, because we've lost property because of hurricanes, and I want to rebuild, and I want people to be able to grow and to have small businesses that also flourish and help, you know, the Blacks and the Hispanics that we have in our areas to be economically stable. So those are some of the things I will work on.
Right on. Yeah, suffice it to say, a public servant, an advocate for the people rather than a corporate puppet or shill or whatever you might say, right? So,
Right.
boy, it's so admirable. It's been a real treat to chat with you. Godspeed getting you into office. Again, it's voteforbell.com. I imagine you have people can donate there, people can volunteer. You have phone banking and text campaigns going.
Yes, we do, because we're doing canvas and lit drops. We're not out having conversations or having in-person events, which I'm sorry that we can't have them, because I really like being out to communicate. You know, I am a school teacher. I've been teaching 4th grade. I'm now going to be teaching 2nd grade. And I am for the people, and I want to be a part and be with the people. So being excluded like this, it makes it hard when you're running a people power campaign. But we're doing what we need to do to continue a strong run. So on November 3rd at 7 o'clock, we will have done all that we can do, and we'll leave it out in the field, and it will be the people that put me in the office.
Here, here.
And it will make a difference.
Absolutely. And what another, I didn't even touch on that. What another benefit to have a teacher in the house rather than yet another lawyer, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, amazing. So, yeah, I think you're a superstar. November 3rd, vote for Bell. Please support Adrienne. Godspeed. Let's flip this seat. It's a flippable seat. It's a flippable year. The wind's at your back. You got some big endorsements. You got a lot of people, counting on you. So hopefully November 3rd, we'll be celebrating it. Like you said, after 7 p.m. on November 3rd, hopefully there'll be some celebrations going on. So
exactly.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak with you and your
Absolutely.
audience.
Absolutely. Thank you, Adrienne. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks.
Okay. Bye now.
Bye.